is good, folks, and I bring some interesting news to you today. One that I didn't know. Garganacl has been banned from the UU tier. I was wondering why I didn't see it on the ladder for a bit, but now I finally found out. It has been banned. Man, they did this quite sneakily and silently. It didn't look like it was obvious that this thing was going to go. After the first round of bans in UU happened after the drops, after the DLC came out. So I'm very happy and excited to share this news with you all, folks. Before we get started in discussing what impact this has on the metagame so far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you have not done so already. We will be doing a lot more of these, folks. But yeah, Garganacl, thank goodness, it has been banned. I'm very happy about this. The news is broken down on the Smogon Forums. I'll leave a link to the Smogon Forums down below, just so you can check out what every council member voted for and why they voted it to be banned. Sadly, they didn't ban Iron Hands or Heatran. Heatran I'm not really that scared of compared to Iron Hands, but yeah, it is what it is. Garganacl, thank you for your services, but I never wanted them here in this tier, so yeah. Thank you for the UU Council for coming to their senses and banning Garganacl. I know that they are very proficient players, so they know what they are talking about. So if you want to give it a read, it's a very long article to read. Link will be in the description. Also, for those of you who don't really understand and know about Pokemon Showdown, I'll leave a link to Pokemon Showdown down below, as I always do when we do any Showdown content. And if you do not understand how Pokemon Showdown works or singles competitive Pokemon works, I'll leave a link to a Mr. Jamvad's video in the description. Watch the video. It explains how competitive singles works in a very clear and concise, easy to follow manner, and it's not very long either. So give the video a watch, head back here, hop onto Showdown and play a bit of it for yourself and have some fun. Anyways, Garganacl, 3 sets that it usually loved to run. It was the specially defensive Curse set, the physically defensive Iron Defense Body Press set, and just the general utility with Stealth Rock and Protect for maximum leftovers recovery, and Salt Cure passive damage. There were other niche sets in between, you know, with random IVs and EVs, maybe even some speed EVs just to be creative, and maybe even some attacking EVs just to be creative as well. But I'm just going to go over the 3 sets and what I thought about them. Terra Fairy was very common. Terra Water, not as common, but it was quite common. And Terra Ghost was also a possibility, if not on the rarer side, just to block Rapid Spin. The set that was the most annoying to deal with was the maximum specially defensive Terra Fairy Curse set. You got no speed on the Garganacl, base 35, 106, slower than most Trick Room Pokemon, without being 0 IV. So bulky on the special side. Water moves when you Terrestrialize Fairy were bouncing off, especially if you Terrestrialize Water. Grass moves were bouncing off, and even if they were not Terrestrialized, it would still not one-hit KO you, and you get a very important turn to make the correct play. But yeah, after a Curse, nobody can almost stop you on the physical side, and the passive damage of Soul Cure and the consistency of its annoyance is what brought the set up to stardom. It's very slow to get moving, but once the pieces that threaten you have been removed, which is not a difficult thing to do. It's very difficult to bring Garganacl down. It's not difficult to bring Garganacl's counters or checks or answers down. So you have to play very delicately with your checks. After a Curse, almost nothing could 1-hit or 2-hit KO it, especially passive Pokemon, which many teams might need to run, you know. Soul Cure's damage can take on any stall team if they're not running Covert Cloaks across the board, and then they just weak themselves to hazards. Curse, making that Earthquake stronger so that nobody can think about setting up alongside you and walling you and things like that, you know. It's better than Body Press, because Body Press has clear weakness in being blocked by ghost types. This was the premier set in my opinion, especially defensive heavy with this set. Another one that I kind of liked more so than specially defensive was the physically defensive one. After an Iron Defense, you can just go on a sweep of your own, and sometimes you could even just play around with the EVs and IVs. And let's make it Careful Nature. Yeah, Careful Nature, leave the attack, something like that. 301 and 302 on both defenses with 4 HP is high, and I've got reliable recovery, and I got leftovers, and I got a move that's annoying. An Iron Defense to boost my physical defense into the stratosphere. It was a very difficult Pokemon to bring in on the physical side, to be honest. Not many Pokemon appreciated this thing being in the tier, and it held back a lot of the tier, to be honest. Heatran had to run in fear of this thing. Salt Cure was just gonna chunk you away very quickly lest you run COVID Cloak. A COVID Cloak Heatran has no reliable recovery. So, the sacrifices you have to make. The last set that was kind of a band-aid to most teams you could use is just get Stealth Rocks up and throw off a Salt Cure versus any random thing in the wall. Something random with mixed defenses. Everyone knows how annoying this is, and then they just protect in front of you. And then sometimes you think they're going to protect, but instead, no, now they body press you. And then you take a chunk when you try to set up on the protect. It's just mad annoyance to deal with. It can punch holes. For a defensive Pokemon, this can punch holes and annoy your entire team. Next on the agenda, I wanted to discuss Cova Cloak. It's time to get rid of the Cova Cloaks. No more Salt Cure for passive damage. Passive Pokemon were starting to run Cova Cloak just so they could not be overwhelmed by the passive damage of Salt Cure. Amoonguss tended to run it now and then instead of Boots or Black Sludge or leftovers. Alomomola, as to not be chunked for 25%, you can't really stay in and be safe against Garganacl. You're giving it free setup because you can't even status a Pokemon. That's something I didn't even discuss. You cannot status it with Burn or Paralyze unless you are neutralizing gas wheezing, which is very niche after Garchamp's been banned, if I do say so myself. You can't even poison it with Toxic Cherry. Garganacl was so annoying that even Sinistcha almost had to run Cova Cloak because they would just stay in and Salt Cure you. They're not scared of grass typing. They're not scared of Scald. They wouldn't even terrestrialize. That's how unafraid they were. Now in Sinistcha you can be free to run Boots or leftovers if you so desire. Salt Cure was one of the few things that was holding this Sinistcha back. It's going to be even better, I promise you. No need for Cova Cloaks on these guys. They weren't even fearing Okidogi being in. Sometimes you could even sit in front of the close combat that might be choice banded under certain circumstances, like if you got plus defense or whatnot. That's how insane they were when you just Salt Cure them and protect into high heaven, terrestrialize to live the next one. That's why Okidogi was running the Cova Cloak, so that they can't stay in and cut your sweep short or cut your breaking power short by Salt Curing you and then you on a fast ticking timer, you know. No more Cova Cloaks means that these guys' utility gets a bit better, allowing Alomomola to come back to Rocky Helmets, which he was kind of doing mostly, Rocky Helmet or Boots. But now you can run it safely without a second thought almost. Okidogi can start recovering HP and not having to worry. Burn is still a problem for Okidogi, but Burn is definitely not a problem for Sinistcha. I think that's the Pokemon that won the most. Heatran might as well be included in the list, but not so much. I've seen other Pokemon like Gastrodon, which you haven't seen in ages. Another defensive Pokemon that hated being Salt Cured and you know, being forced to stay in and spam recover. Quagsire too, Clodsire as well. But that was still a niche item to use on those guys, but now you can guilt-free run something else. That Pokemon was just a monster on stall, you know? It takes very specific guys to break stall. And Garganacl can actually be a very good addition to some stall teams. It was good on every type of team, don't get me wrong, but I'm not a fan of stall. You all know that. And yeah, I really didn't like stall, and good riddance. There's still so much that stall has in this tier. Amoonguss, Alomomola, Regenerator Tornadoes, Regenerator Cycles, which is faster than everybody. Iron Dredge, which just loves everything and rapid spins on everybody. Yeah, Scizor even, just to be a threat in the late game. Muck to be an annoyance with Toxic. It's very difficult to break stall. Well, probably not difficult, but stall has still a ton of options to use. I'm going to talk so much about stall. I forgot to ask and mention, folks, if you did hear the news that Garganacl has been banned and you are happy about it, let me know by leaving a like and a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments as well what you thought. Overpowered? It's too quick that it's been banned. They should have let it stay and let the heat cool down and see what's what. Let me know. I'd really love to hear everybody else's opinions and thoughts. Lastly, or two more things I want to discuss is who gets much better after this guy's been banned. The bug types, the resident bug types of UU, Scizor had to run from Salt Cure, and they didn't care about U-turn, they didn't care about close combat. They never feared bullet punch. You could swords dance for life, but then you're taking 25%. You want to terrestrialize. You wasted your terrestrialize. Mola was there, and then it's just too many annoyances stopping Sizzle in his tracks. Only on HO teams was Sizzle finding some luck to set up if you were lucky. But it gets a lot better now that 25% of its HP is not being threatened by a Pokemon that's weak to its typing. Shame, man. Shocking that had to come to pass. Low kicks. Bandit low kicks. My favorite, don't tell anybody, but it's quite cheap to use on the ladder. You can take out a lot of guys. It's a good type of insurance. Silver powder low kicks. You bluff the choice band. You just want to get a lot of squishy opponents, and they believe your choice band and just use it on kill the next guy too as they attempt to set up. But boots low kicks too. Low kicks gets a lot better because it was never going to 1v1 Garganacl. Low kicks, if you're lucky, can 1v1 Aloma Mola with leech life recovery. If you're running swords dance, cool, you can knock it off. But you had to run in fear of Garganacl's Soul Cure. Soul Cure was just too potent of a move to want to stay in risk versus, and the defense is so high. Even body press was going to chunk you. Aloma Mola was not going to chunk you at all. And if you had a swords dance, you could just power through the burn as well. Cleaver. How irrelevant Cleaver has started becoming since Iron Treads has joined the tier, because what a natural resist to Stone Axe. Scarf Cleaver fallen off quite hard because you're going to Stone Axe the guy, they're going to get rocks up, they're going to recover the damage. What you going to do? No more Garganacl. Cleaver can start spamming X's and sharpness boosted. Stone Axes and X's. Why does all bug types have Swarm as their abilities? Really? Swarm. Cool. Anyways. Skeledirge. Garganacl was a complete block. It resists fire. It resists ghosts because of its ability Purifying Salt. What was Skeledirge going to do? Earth Power? That's going to bounce off from Spadef Garg. Overcloak Skeledirge? No. Stealth Rocks. It's not happening. You had to run boots on this guy. You can't burn Garganacl, and it was just a free Salt Cure. No Pokemon wants to switch in and take the Salt Cure. That's the problem. Nobody wants to switch in and take a Salt Cure to the face, because they're going to have to be forced right out and the opponent gets the momentum. That's the issue I had with Garganacl. Skeledirge gets a lot better because the hard wall, the stone wall, literally, is no more in this tier. So only Heatran, but Heatran don't live Earth Powers comfortably, and don't live Shadow Balls, boosted Shadow Balls at least. And Heatran kinda doesn't threaten back that intensely with Earth Power, depending on the Skeledirge set and the Heatran set. So we can start Underwear warning a lot of other guys. Weavile, how I've missed you, my friend. You had hype in the beginning when Garchomp was still here because you could Revenge Kill and threaten them, and then you could Swords Dance, but you get a lot better with Garganacl gone. Probably Aloma Mola is really kind of like a true check to Weavile, plus 2 knockoff. Smokes Heatran quite tremendously depending on the set. Smokes Sizzle, you tear out of that weakness. Very fast speed here, very good attacking stat. Faster than Tornadus here, and beats Tornadus here, and beats Amoonguss. So beats Sinistra as well. But just the fact that you provide a free turn to Garganacl, even though Icicle Crash, granted, Bandit Icicle Crash or knockoff would have done a lot. Still, the fact that you had to run in fear, and then the next Pokemon that came in had to run in fear as well if they were not COVID cloaked, because Salt Cure would have chipped them down. That's the part that gets to Weavile a little bit. Now, the last thing I want to discuss with you folks is just let me show you how oppressive the guy was. You sit on a Aloma Mola, Iron Defense or Curse Up, and Salt Cure it because it's probably not COVID Cloak. Amoonguss can't do anything to you besides maybe clear Smog, and cool, you Salt Cure the Amoonguss, unless they COVID Cloak. They're going to be forced out and they can start setting up again. Arcanine, oh no, Rockhead Arcanine with Choice Band is weakened by Stealth Rocks and Spikes, which are very common in this tier. One body press away from Oblivion. Terra Fairy, you need a +6 on Azumarill to do anything, to be honest. And Salt Cure, put you on a time and then I Protect. What's not enough? I resist Ghost. I can Terrestrialize out of my water weakness. Salt Cure, Salt Cure, Salt Cure, Salted Dish. Breloom, yeah, sure, but nobody was running close combat. And again, Salt Cure after a few curse boosts. Can't be Spore to sleep. No. Same reason Chandelure sucks. Chandelure's falling off, by the way. So you can forget about me talking much about Chandelure. Chestnut. Yeah, but we can just Iron Defense trade, and you can't outlast me because of Salt Cure. That's the magic ingredient, the secret ingredient, if you will. Clotsai had to run from Salt Cure, and you can just set up on it. You can't toxic it. So Clotsai can't toxic you. Nobody's using Conch Elder because it's too slow. Iron Hands is a bit way too better. Ursaluna's better typing, better moves as well, stronger moves to spam. Stab Facade is better than Stab Close Combat when you can just use Stab Facade and Stab Headlong Rush. How much stronger do you need to be? And it's faster and bulkier, so not much. Crodon was not really breaking through. You're just one body press away from death. Salt Cure on the Cresselia, you have to sub up, very niche territory you have to get, but Crest can maybe put in some work. Who else is notable? Donphan is supposed to beat Garganacl. Nope, Salt. This thing was never killing with Earth Power. It's weak to Rock. Salt Cure. This thing, it's a Rock. It's a Fairy type with no attacking stats at all. Okay, Gastron had to use Covert. Goodra had to use Covert. Look at this list, folks. Heatran had to run from Salt Cure. Hoopa would never kill and you just one body press from a chunk. Being chunk. Chunk on the Hydreigon. Infernape has to run, especially if it terrestrialized. Iron Hands could check you, you know what? Yeah, 1 in a million. Treads, Salt. Jirachi's not being used much, just salted. Cleaver was never touching the guy. Lilligant. I think Lilligant could have taken Garganacl now that I think about it. If Hustle does its work, then sure, I think Lilligant could have done it. Adamant Lilligant, to be honest, with Victory Dance. After the dance, you just slice and dice some of the X's. Mousehole is a joke. Mandibuzz would never do anything. You have to U-turn out, and the next guy's taking a Salt Cure. Meowscarada was a threat to Garganacl, I'll give you that. Moltres had to run away. Monkey Dory, nope. Special defensive guard will answer that thing any day of the week. And yeah, I'm not going to go down the entire list, but go through the list of UU Pokemon and just see for yourself. Salt Cure just gave up too much utility, too much pressure, the defensive stats was too high. It destroyed this tier tremendously. That being said, folks, that's all I wrote today. That's the story I'm going to sing to you today. So let me know in the comments down below if you liked the video. And no, like the video. And then discuss away in the comments what you thought. Subscribe if you have not done so already. We will be doing a lot more of these. Until next time, folks, we'll be U-turning out. Thanks for watching.